Hello Golden State Warriors fans, we are here once again to bring you the latest news related to our team, and I would like to emphasize how committed we are to improving our performance to achieve great results. Before we dive into this intriguing news, I kindly request you to show your support by clicking the like button, and if you are not yet subscribed to our channel, I invite you all to join us on an exciting journey. Remember to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything.
Social media clues hint at DeAnthony Melton's possible return to the Warriors. It might just be a click, but in today's NBA, one Instagram follow can spark a wave of speculation. That's exactly what happened when fans noticed that DeAnthony Melton, the veteran guard, recently refollowed the Golden State Warriors on Instagram. Coincidence? Maybe. But in a quiet off-season for the Dubs, this little digital breadcrumb has stirred up real buzz about a possible reunion. To be fair, there's more than just social media tea leaves backing this up. NBA insiders Jake Fisher and Mark Stein have both reported that the Warriors are a strong candidate to sign Melton, who, despite suffering a torn ACL after just 6 games with Golden State last season, left a positive impression during his short stint. But let's go back to the Instagram drama for a moment. According to user at BabyfaceDubs, also known as Curry Flurry, Melton had unfollowed the Warriors after being traded to the Brooklyn Nets last December in the deal that brought Dennis Schroeder to the Bay. Now, he's following the team again, and they're the only NBA franchise he currently follows. Our own quick scroll through Melton's Instagram confirms it. Among the accounts he follows, the NBA Players Association, Snoop Dogg, NerdWallet, the Minnesota Vikings, and even the 76ers mascot, Franklin the Dog. But as of now, only one NBA team has made it back onto his follow list, the Golden State Warriors. Why it makes sense. Melton's return to San Francisco would be more than just a sentimental move. Even in his limited time with the team last season, he proved to be a natural fit, capable of initiating offense, locking up guards at the point of attack, and knocking down catch-and-shoot threes. After his injury, the Warriors struggled to fill that gap. They tried Dennis Schroeder, but the fit was short-lived. Eventually, Schroeder was packaged with Andrew Wiggins and others in the deal that landed Jimmy Butler. The Melton void was never really filled. With his rehab progressing and his price tag now likely lower than the $12.8 million mid-level deal he signed last summer, Melton could present a tremendous value for a team looking to bolster its guard rotation without overspending. What about the Lakers? Just days ago, Clutch Points reported a growing expectation that Melton would land with the Lakers. That made sense at the time. He's from Southern California, played high school ball at Crespi, and starred at USC. Plus, the Lakers have been looking for tough, defensively minded guards to pair with Luka Doncic. But that interest appears to have cooled. Los Angeles has now turned its attention toward Bradley Beal, a former All-Star who could shake up the entire free agent landscape if he's officially bought out by the Suns. Beal's availability may be holding up decisions for several veteran guards still on the market, players like Malcolm Brogdon, Russell Westbrook, Ben Simmons, and of course DeAnthony Melton. All of them may be eyeing short-term deals to prove their value before a more favorable 2026 free agency market, where more teams are expected to have cap space. For Melton, it's about fit, not flash. Sure, Melton might have hoped to prove himself last season with the Warriors under that $12.8 million one-year deal. But with fewer teams holding significant cap space this summer, his next move may come down to where he feels most comfortable, and where he can have the biggest impact, not just the biggest paycheck. And maybe, just maybe, that's why the Instagram follow matters. The Warriors have been active on social lately, sharing clips from the California Classic, honoring Kevin Looney, and even posting videos of country rapper Jelly Roll debating which former Warrior would make the best drummer. Melton doesn't follow Jelly Roll yet for the record, but hey, there's still time. It's a long off-season, and nothing's official yet. But if you're reading between the lines, or scrolling between the follows, DeAnthony Melton reuniting with Golden State is starting to look more like a real possibility than just social media smoke. Warriors weighing familiar faces over flashy names. While the Warriors have been mentioned in connection with some bigger names this offseason, sources close to the organization suggest the team may be more focused on familiarity, chemistry, and fit than chasing star power. That approach could make someone like Melton, a low-profile but high-impact guard, even more valuable in their current team-building strategy. Golden State is clearly entering a new phase. With Klay Thompson gone, Draymond Green aging, and Steph Curry still playing at an elite level, the franchise is looking to retool around its core rather than rebuild from scratch. The front office has placed a premium on versatile defenders and high IQ role players, exactly the kind of attributes Melton brings to the table. According to Anthony Slater of The Athletic, the Warriors are actively exploring multiple guard options who can fill the Klay-sized hole on the wing, not just from a shooting standpoint, but from a defensive leadership perspective. Melton, who has built a reputation as one of the best perimeter defenders in the league when healthy, fits that mold as well as anyone still on the market. Teammates and coaches speak up. Privately, several Warriors players reportedly loved having Melton around last season. Despite the brief stint, his professionalism, defensive energy, and quiet leadership stood out during practices and in the locker room. One assistant coach was quoted as saying Melton was one of the smartest defenders we've had here in a long time. That kind of locker room endorsement matters, especially for a Warriors team that values continuity and character as much as talent. There's also a growing belief among league insiders that Melton may be willing to accept a short-term prove-it deal, perhaps even the veteran minimum, if it meant returning to a system he knows, and one where he believes he can shine. Given his injury status and the uncertainty still surrounding his full return timeline, that kind of mutually beneficial deal could be a win-win for both sides. Fan base reacts to the speculation. Meanwhile, Warriors fans are already connecting the dots. The Instagram follow, of course, has gone viral among the team's online community. The post by @BabyfaceDubs now has thousands of reposts and has sparked spirited debates on Reddit, X, and Warriors fan forums. Some fans are calling for the front office to move quickly before another team jumps in. He wants to come back. He's healthy. He defends. This is a no-brainer, one fan wrote on the r/Warriors subreddit. Others are a bit more cautious, questioning whether Melton's knee will be ready by the start of the season and if the team can afford to take another health-related gamble. But even among skeptics, there's a general agreement. If Melton is close to 100%, he's exactly the kind of player this team needs. What's next? For now, all eyes remain on a few major pieces that need to fall: the Bradley Beal situation, the fates of other veteran guards like Brogdon and Westbrook, and the broader market movement once the second wave of free agency kicks in. But behind the scenes, don't be surprised if the Warriors and Melton are already having quiet conversations. He may not be the splashiest name on the board, but in Golden State, fit often beats flash. And if the vibes on Instagram are any indication, Melton might just be preparing for a Bay Area comeback story that fans didn't know they needed. Draymond Green calls out CJ McCollum and NBPA. New CBA is killing free agency. Draymond Green isn't holding back. As NBA free agency unfolds with far less excitement than in years past, the Golden State Warriors veteran has taken to threads to express his frustration, directing some of his sharpest criticism at the National Basketball Players Association, NBPA, and its president, CJ McCollum. Green's central point? The newly implemented collective bargaining agreement, CBA, which went into effect this summer, has completely changed the game, and not in a good way. It's over. Free agency is dead. In a candid post, Draymond said what many players might be thinking but won't say out loud. I'm sitting in my cave, talking to my wife. Just stunned that NBA free agency is over. Honestly, it never even really started. He described the usual buzz and excitement leading up to July 1st as being comparable to 4th of July fireworks, full of anticipation and potential. But this year? Quiet. Disappointing. Underwhelming. Just a week after watching a team pop champagne and float through the championship parade, we're left pointing at the new CBA and the second apron for killing free agency. Draymond isn't just talking about the lack of blockbuster moves. He's talking about how the new financial structure is crippling player movement, especially for young, rising players who haven't yet made their mark. Frustration with leadership and regret. Green didn't just critique the rules. He called out the players' leadership for agreeing to them in the first place. Unfortunately, I'm watching so many players overvalue themselves in this market and not realize what's really going on. It makes me wonder how many guys truly understand the business they're in. He went as far as to joke, only half-jokingly, that he should have been the NBPA president instead of CJ McCollum. I should have been the president of the Players Association, LOL. I could have helped. The league is incredible. It's been great to all of us. A beautiful partnership between players, coaches, execs, owners, and fans. But I'm truly shocked at how little players know about the business side, and how much it can cost them when they don't. Addressing the Kuminga speculation. Anticipating the internet might connect his rant to Jonathan Kuminga's current free agency situation, Green made it crystal clear, this isn't about his teammate. Before you start turning this into a JK thing, it's not. He's 22, he's going to be great, and he's going to make a ton of money. This isn't about him. Kuminga, a restricted free agent, has drawn interest, most notably from the Sacramento Kings, but has yet to receive a formal offer sheet. Like many young RFAs, he's now stuck in a holding pattern due to the risk-averse behavior new CBA rules have triggered across the league. He's not alone. Cam Thomas, Brooklyn Nets, and others are experiencing the same reality. Teams are letting the market cool before offering deals, hoping to re-sign players for bargain prices. The bigger issue, what the CBA is really doing. The second apron and other punitive luxury tax measures built into the new CBA are already reshaping team strategies. Franchises are steering clear of big commitments, even for promising talent, in order to avoid harsh financial penalties. That's left the middle tier of players, especially young non-superstars, in a bind. Teams don't want to overspend. Players don't want to settle. And the result is a stagnant market. This new system is hitting the guys who need momentum the most, Green emphasized. These aren't max guys, they're the future core of the league. And we've just made it way harder for them to grow into that role. And nothing will change soon. Unfortunately, the current CBA is locked in through the 2029-30 season. That means these conditions aren't a one-year fluke, they're the new reality. Until a new deal is negotiated, young players on the rise may continue to face limited options, slower markets, and smaller paydays than their predecessors. Draymond's frustration is loud, but it's also shared by many around the league, whether they say it publicly or not. His message is clear. We need to understand the business, or we'll keep losing ground. A league-wide ripple effect. Draymond Green's comments didn't just stir up headlines, they echoed across locker rooms, front offices, and agents' calls all over the NBA. Behind the scenes, executives are acknowledging what many suspected: free agency, as we've known it, is changing rapidly. One prominent agent, speaking anonymously to The Athletic, put it bluntly: teams are terrified of the second apron. It's not just about taxes, there are layers of restrictions now. You can't sign buyout players, you can't combine salaries in trades. It handcuffs flexibility. And that makes everyone tighten up. This has led to a league-wide shift where risk-averse behavior is becoming the norm. Teams are focusing on locking up their stars early and filling out the rest of the roster with minimum contracts or draft picks. The days of mid-tier veterans cashing in big might be behind us for a while. CJ McCollum responds. Subtly. Though CJ McCollum hasn't directly responded to Draymond Green's criticism, sources say he's aware of the comments. In recent NBPA meetings, McCollum has emphasized the long-term financial health of the league and collective bargaining wins such as increased minimums and expanded player benefits. Still, some players now wonder if the trade-offs made to get those benefits, like the harsh luxury tax penalties, were too steep. I respect CJ a lot, one Western Conference player shared anonymously. But there's definitely a conversation to be had about how this CBA is playing out in real time. A lot of us didn't fully realize the implications until now. Young players are feeling the pressure. The biggest losers in this new environment may not be the stars, but the developing talent stuck in limbo. Restricted free agents like Jonathan Kuminga, Cam Thomas, and even Onyeka Okongwu are seeing their market stall as teams hesitate to offer deals that might backfire under the CBA's tighter financial constraints. Some are being forced to consider short-term prove-it contracts instead of the long-term security they'd hoped for. Draymond, known for mentoring younger teammates, is particularly passionate about this issue. He's seen how contract limbo can rattle a young player's confidence and growth. It's hard to tell a 22-year-old to be patient when they've worked their whole life for this moment. But now, they're told to wait. Because of cap strategy? That's not how you build the future of the league. What could change, and when? As frustrating as the situation is, change isn't coming soon. The current CBA is locked in until 2030-31, barring a mutual opt-out or major legal push. That means the next several off-seasons could look much like this one: cautious, calculated, and considerably quieter. Some believe players will become more involved in future negotiations because of what they're seeing now. Draymond's post, while fiery, could become a spark for broader player awareness and mobilization. I think we're going to look back at what Draymond said and realize it was a turning point, said a former NBA GM. He's not wrong. And more players are starting to ask the same questions. Final thought, the fire still burns. In classic Draymond fashion, his message wasn't just a complaint, it was a challenge. To the league. To the players. To the system. The NBA's still amazing. But if we want it to stay great for everyone, we've got to understand what we're signing. We've got to speak up. And we've got to take ownership of the business we're a part of. Loud. Unfiltered. And this time, maybe more right than most were ready to admit. Jonathan Kuminga's next team feels painfully obvious after surprise 3-team trade. And it just might be a conference rival. The Golden State Warriors may soon have to face a tough reality. Jonathan Kuminga could be headed to the Utah Jazz, a move that now seems far more likely after a surprising 3-team trade involving John Collins. The deal opened up valuable cap flexibility for Utah, and with Kuminga arguably the most intriguing young talent still floating in restricted free agency, the Jazz are well positioned to make a move. Yes, the Warriors technically hold the right to match any offer for Kuminga, but should they? Golden State had previously set a steep asking price for the 6 feet 8 inches forward in trade talks. They clearly don't want to lose him for nothing. But if we're being honest, Kuminga's role in the team has been uncertain for some time. Before Steph Curry's injury late last season, Kuminga wasn't even part of the regular playoff rotation. And as exciting as his athleticism is, the fit just hasn't been right. And the Warriors, already dealing with a tight salary situation, can't afford to overpay for a player who still feels like a question mark. Utah presents a golden opportunity for Kuminga. At 22, Kuminga has shown flashes of real scoring upside, averaging 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, 2.2 assists, and nearly a steal per game in limited minutes last season. But his development has been slowed by a crowded depth chart and inconsistent usage in Golden State. What he needs now is playing time. A chance to grow. A team that will actually let him fail, learn, and evolve. Utah might be that team. The Jazz just cleared out major pieces. Colin Sexton, Jordan Clarkson, and John Collins are all gone. Suddenly, there's a need for offensive firepower and wing depth. Kuminga, alongside rookie Ace Bailey, could form one of the most exciting young forward duos in the league. The Jazz are rebuilding, and Kuminga would fit right into a team looking to the future rather than clinging to its past. A sign and trade could be the cleanest path forward. Utah has a $26.6 million trade exception and doesn't seem afraid to use it. They've been searching for a young star to add to their core, and Kuminga, with the right opportunity, might just become that. Implications of the John Collins deal. This wasn't just any trade. It was unexpected and far-reaching. Few thought the Heat would land Norman Powell for virtually nothing, and even fewer expected it to trigger such ripple effects across the Western Conference. But now, the Jazz have cap flexibility, roster space, and a real need. And the Warriors? They're still nowhere close to resolving Kuminga's future. That's a dangerous mix. Golden State has a decision to make. If they truly believe in Kuminga's potential, they need to commit to giving him nightly meaningful minutes, something that doesn't seem to be in their current plans. If not, it might be smarter, and more respectful to both parties, to move on. And Utah could offer a win-win scenario. The bottom line. Kuminga won't suddenly turn the Jazz into a contender, and that's okay. Utah is playing the long game. They're aiming to build a strong young foundation while quietly setting themselves up for the 2026 NBA draft. Kuminga fits that timeline perfectly. He gives them upside now, and if things click, maybe even more later. For the Warriors, this is about honesty. Kuminga has outgrown the project label, and he needs a real role to take the next step. Golden State is chasing another championship while juggling contracts, aging stars, and internal shifts. Holding on to Kuminga without fully using him helps no one. This trade just made that future a lot more clear, and for the Jazz, a lot more tempting. Keep your eyes on this one. It might be the most important under-the-radar move of the offseason. The ripple effect. What comes next for Kuminga, Warriors, and Jazz? Utah's game plan. Developing stars, not contenders yet. Signing or trading for Kuminga would fit neatly into Utah's broader rebuild strategy. The Jazz appear committed to accumulating young high-upside talent ahead of the 2026 draft lottery. They now have the cap space, roster flexibility, and draft capital to aggressively pursue Kuminga, Ace Bailey, and possibly other prospects. While they won't be title contenders immediately, they're clearly aiming to become a steady playoff team by 2026 to 27, with Kuminga potentially playing a central role. Importantly, the Jazz don't seem to be treating him as a gamble. Instead, they view him as a foundational piece, a dynamic scorer and athletic wing who, given the minutes and trust, could blossom into a major contributor and even a future cornerstone. Golden State's dilemma: talent versus timeline. Golden State is at a crossroads. Do they hold on to Kuminga and hope he develops into a rotation-caliber player, or do they trade him and get value now while his stock is elevated? His restricted free agent status gives the Warriors leverage, but that can only go so far. If Golden State keeps him without committing, the risk is letting a rising star walk away, potentially for nothing, or holding onto a talented player whose role may continue to be limited in a veteran-heavy rotation built around trade acquisitions like Ayton and perhaps future veteran wings. On the flip side, a well-timed trade to Utah could yield draft picks or young assets better aligned with the team's immediate and future plans, freeing up caps and minutes for prospects who fit faster. Fan and analyst reaction: a divided house. Warriors fans are split. Some argue Kuminga deserves a shot and has the upside to be the team's future third star. Others reckon that if Golden State is going to chase another title now, their roster is already set, and that making a trade could strengthen the team around Curry and Doncic. Jazz supporters are energized. A loud majority see Kuminga as exactly the kind of asset that can move the franchise forward, adding youth, scoring upside, and excitement. The broader narrative: Utah is shedding veterans and collecting talent before the 2026 draft shake-up. League analysts are calling this an intriguing chess match. They've noted how the Collins move not only boosts Utah's ceiling, but also increases pressure on Golden State to show commitment or capitalize on the window by selling high. Broader Western Conference implications. If Kuminga lands in Utah, the Jazz's package instantly becomes more watchable, adding intrigue to matchups in the Mountain and Pacific subconferences. Games against teams like the Lakers, Clippers, and Kings would begin to carry more weight, as scouts and fans check Milwaukee for signs of Utah's direction. On the flip side, if Golden State holds onto him but fails to integrate him, the perception may shift that the team is clinging too hard to assets they don't fully value, while waiting for another title window that might not come soon enough. The coaching angle. Rookie head coach Mike Brown Jr. in Utah could be the ideal environment for Kuminga. With fresh staff and fewer egos in the locker room, the onus may be on giving developmental minutes to the game's young stars. Compare that to Golden State, where minutes and rotations are often predetermined around veterans and playoff-tested strategies. For Kuminga's growth, the opportunity in Utah might be the clearest chance he's had to prove he belongs. Final takeaway. The table is set. Utah is ready to pounce, offering minutes, trust, and a front office willing to build around youth. Golden State, meanwhile, must make a tough call. Do they commit to making Kuminga a cornerstone, or cash in while his value is high? This isn't just about one player, it's about identity. Will the Warriors continue to lean on veteran experience, or pivot fully toward nurturing young talent? And will Utah's gamble pay off as they chase their post-Jazz rebuild dream? Whatever happens, this quietly unfolding domino effect could define the offseason and shape the trajectory of two very different franchises.